Hey everybody, Wyoming James checking in again from the Urban Micro Farm. Well, it is day 27, day 27 here on the Urban Micro Farm, and we are headed out in the garden again to check on these little guys. So, I have a little bit of a funny story to tell you about our little friend Wounded Bird. But what I'm going to need to do is get these birds fed, get them moved, and then I think I'll post some footage here real quick of the bird late yesterday afternoon getting better. Then I'll tell you our funny story. Okay, a quick update here on the Wounded Bird. He's or she is up. Let me zoom in here. Walking on both legs. You can see a little bit of blood around the foot there. I'm hoping that that's all the more damage I did, but we'll just have to wait and see. She spreads her wings. She's standing on her own 2 feet.
She's eating.
Mandy's had her bundled in that dish towel for, well, since we got back. So, but she's standing on her own. She ate some worms.
She drank some water.
She drank some water. Nurse Mandy is getting her back to health. So, hey, Wounded Bird, tell us how we're feeling today. Well, Wounded Bird standing and eating and drinking. I think Wounded Bird's gonna be okay. Alright, so I'm headed out to the pasture, and I had promised you a story about our little friend Wounded Bird, and I guess now's as good a time as any to share that story because, well, I'm rolling solo today. Mandy has to work a late shift tonight, and because of that, she wanted to catch some extra Z's, so she's getting a little extra sleep, and I'm headed out to move birds on my own. So, yesterday, Mandy was pretty upset over that little bird. She was upset that the bird was hurt, and I think she was also upset because she felt like maybe I was just a little careless in moving those tractors. That could be true. I wasn't doing it intentionally, but so anyway, nonetheless, the bird is hurt. So Mandy scoops up the little bird, and she held it all the way home. And we got home, and she went and got a dish towel out of the kitchen and wrapped this bird up lovingly, and just nursed this thing all morning long. And then yesterday afternoon, we took it out and put it in the garden with the other birds so they could kind of get used to each other, and it started doing better. So it started by just kind of standing up and holding that one leg up, and then it would squat back down, it would stand up and put the bad leg down, and it started standing on that leg and putting weight on that leg. Then by the end of the afternoon, that bird was actually walking around and foraging for bugs. So it was doing really well. So as not to get the bird picked to death by the other birds, we put it in administrative segregation, ADSEG, or I think some of our incarcerated friends call it the SHU, Special Housing Unit. Yeah, okay, so I might have watched a few episodes of Lockup. But anyway, so the bird got put in its own little brooder, a smaller version of our brooders. I went and put some wood chips in it. We gave it its own rations, put some electrolyte water in it, and it was doing well. So we had it sitting in the living room because we wanted to keep it a little warmer than the outside temperatures. So we go to dinner last night, we come back from dinner, and the little brooder's empty. Well, we find the Wounded Bird all the way in the kitchen, and it had left a little surprise for us in the kitchen. So we get that cleaned up. Mandy got that cleaned up, and we get the bird back in the brooder, and she was impressed that that bird had enough strength and was well enough to jump out of that brooder onto the floor, and it was still walking around. So that's good. That's good news. The bird is doing well. So Mandy, being the loving, caring, nurturing person that she is, she goes and gets the tea towel and wraps it up and puts it, she's sitting on the couch, she puts it right on her chest, and she's, you know, of course she's stroking its crop and doing all the other stuff that mama birds do, I think. And as we were sitting there, this bird reaches up to her right ear, and she was wearing pearl earrings, reaches up to her right ear and nabs this pearl earring out of her ear, and before she can even say anything, she watches this bird gulp this earring down. So now we have a new problem. The bird has a stud earring in its crop. So we've got about a 30 caliber pearl earring, complete with the metal stud on it, in this bird's crop. I don't know what the heck we're gonna do. My first thing was to, hey, I know, let's have one of those oyster opening parties. I don't know if you've seen those, where they take these women that bring in oysters and then open them up for people and say, oh, here's your oyster, it's blue, it's purple. Well, we could do that, and I could have an oyster opening party, but that might be just a little bit sick. So we're hoping that this thing passes. I don't know if it will or not, but I think the irony here is obvious. The fact that Mandy really thought I killed this bird, but in fact, by her nurturing it too much, I don't know, I hate to say it, but anyway, so that's just a real quick update on our little friend Wounded Bird. So anybody has any ideas on how to remove a stud earring out of a hold on, let me back up. If anybody has any ideas on how to non-destructively remove an earring out of the crop of a baby bird, put them in the comments below or get a hold of me, because I have no idea. Wyoming James checking out from the cab of the Cobalt Blue Panty Dropper. I'll be out here to the pasture in just a few minutes, and we'll see how those birds are doing. Stand by. All right, so we have arrived on the pasture. Another nice day on the pasture. A little bit of a breeze out here today. Let's just count noses. I don't see anybody not doing well in here. Nobody escaped. Over here, everybody's looking really, really good. Everybody's looking really happy. No escapees. And over here, number 3. Looking good there. All right, so everybody's happy. Everybody's accounted for, except one, if you know what I mean. All right, so I'm going to be extra careful here when I'm moving these tractors, because I would hate to have spewed all that stuff that I was just spewing on the way out here and have a bird get hurt on my watch. So I'm going to be really careful. So I'm going to move these tractors, and then we'll catch up here in just a second. All right, so tractors move, chickens fed. Pretty uneventful day out here on the pasture. I had 2 buckets that were mostly empty, so we went ahead and topped them off. We're topping those off right now. So once that's done, it'll just be another day in the books. So we'll try to keep you guys posted. Try to keep you posted on what's going on with the Wounded Bird. I really have no idea what we're gonna do there as far as getting that, recovering that earring. So stay with us, because I don't know, that's just one of the funny, strange things that happens, I guess. So we're really excited to be doing this. I can't tell you that again, or I can't tell you that enough, rather, that we're really excited to be doing this. I love the support we're getting. I love that that Uncle Speedy, even yesterday evening in his spare time, he mentioned that he was sitting out on the deck, on his deck, trying to come up with ways to solve our feed problems. So I'm going to get back to the house here. Which, speaking of feed problems, I'm going to get back to the house. We're going to start another batch of that fodder. And everybody keeps asking me, what's fodder? What's fodder? What's fodder? You know, I've used the word for years, and I never really knew what it meant. So I had to look it up. And you know, I used it in this context. You know, like cannon fodder. Cannon fodder was just, I thought, was just stuff that you stuffed in a cannon back in the day and shot it. Like, you know, when you talk about them filling a cannon full of nails and shooting a cannon full of nails, you know, I thought that was cannon fodder. Well, turns out that fodder is a food, right? So I was basically saying cannon food. So it's a food, and a low grade food, and it's meant mostly for animals, livestock. So that's what fodder is. I guess we should start referring to it as something a little more accurate to what it is. It's so we're going to come up with a name on what we call fodder. I'll still have to name those videos, chicken fodder day 1, chicken fodder day 12, 20, 30, but we're going to come up with a new name, something that more accurately describes what that food source is. So be thinking about that, because I would love to call that something different, and so that people who just tune into these videos know what the heck we're talking about. So put your thinking caps on there. So Wyoming James checking out until we go back and make some of that inexpensive protein feed out of seeds. Adios.